Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of House of Targaryen Realness, the realist podcast in the world. And I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Reagan. Hello.
That's
And
that's
and who
Regan,
and then who are you? Who are you, person?
Daenerys Targaryen. No,
I knew it.
my name
I
is
knew it.
Ray.
Ray.
I don't have a last name. Sorry, guys. But today we are getting into episode 4 of House of the Dragon, and I will not be doing the summary today.
No,
Someone
it will
else
be
will.
me and I have a lot to say. So, bear with me. This episode is one of my favorites from the season. Um I love the drama is thick in this
Mhm.
episode and I love every single minute of it. Okay, so let's get into the summary. All right. Rhaenyra's days are filled with the most hilarious and insane marriage proposals from literally every man across Westeros. Like every single man in Westeros thinks he has a shot with her, and that's so funny. But after a brave little boy makes his proposal, it ends in a impromptu battle of honor with another suitor, and Rhaenyra's like, "That's it. I'm gonna call it. The tour's off." And she boogies on home. Um, she's not the undercover spy she thinks she is. So Rhaenyra unsuccessfully tries to sneak back into her father's court without him seeing her, but he instantly identifies her and is visually pissed off that she ended her tour. And then a hush settles over the court. A breeze gives shivers to all those standing. A fog machine kicks on, and a spotlight narrows in to the one and only Damon, who is literally decked out to the nines with his victory, his recent victory in killing the crab eater. Um, dressed in, he has the crab eater's crown and he has the crab eater's weapon, and he soaks up every diva filled moment before announcing his thrust upon title of King of the Narrow Sea. And he just does it to get Otto to shake in his little boots. It's really funny. They just give each other side glances the entirety of this interaction.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, Damon relinquishes the crab beater's weapon and the crown in honor of the true king. And the brothers they have a little embrace, which is actually a cute moment. You know, it's like, I'm really proud of you. The realm owes you a debt they can never repay. It's very cute. And then they have a tailgate out in the courtyard, and Viserys and Damon become the two drunk uncles of every family function and start reminiscing about their mom before pissing off everyone around them. After Viserys burns Alicent about the tapestries, Rhaenyra swoops in to save Alicent's feelings, and the two retreat to talk about Rhaenyra's failed tour. Alicent delicately points out that Rhaenyra is being a little bitchy about her opportunity to choose from hundreds of suitors when most women don't get to choose at all. Cough, cough, her. Rhaenyra punches back by insinuating a life left to squeeze out heirs is no life at all, and that was a gut punch to Allison. But the two of them put aside their environment for the moment, and they admit that they miss each other, and it's a really sweet moment. You see a shimmer of hope that things can be repaired, but it's only for a moment because Rhaenyra corners Damon and she asks him about the real reason he returned to King's Landing. He dodges her interrogation and he talks to her about marriage being a political endeavor, but Rhaenyra views it as a death sentence linked to the obligation of producing heirs. Damon offers that Rhaenyra will miss out on life if she lives in fear. You're not living dangerously enough. You know, come on. What's the? Why are you so worried?
Make a
Um,
scandal, Rhaenyra.
yeah, come on. And that strikes a chord within her. So back to the politics. Rumors are circulating that Lord Corlys, the sea snake, may be trying to combine his house with the Free Cities. With that hanging in the air, everyone goes to night night in their chambers for the evening. As Rhaenyra gets ready for bed, she discovers some clothes and a guide to a secret passageway behind her bed that's been there the whole time. And if I had found that out in that moment, I would have been so creeped out. Like knowing that someone had access to my room at all times in a way that I didn't know, that is so creepy.
She's better than me. I simply would have not have gone.
No, I would have said no, thank you.
Mm,
I'm
I'm
actually gonna have
okay.
I'm gonna have girl time. You do you.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No, thank you. I'm just gonna put on a mask and paint my nails and ignore everything that just happened today. Anyways, so Rhaenyra, she sees the clothes and she gets to the passageway, and Daemon is at the exit awaiting her in his favorite outfit, which is his hood full of secrets. That's why it's so big. It's full of secrets. Um, and they go explore the streets of the kingdom. They stumble across a play making fun of Rhaenyra ascending the throne, and that shows Rhaenyra that the kingdom is not really in favor of her having the throne. It's kind of cute though because she was booing for herself. She was like, "Boo, boo, no, no, Rhaenyra, go Team Rhaenyra." She has her own groupie. It's hilarious. Um, so this pisses Rhaenyra off, and she they just kind of walk around, and for the sheer thrill of it, Rhaenyra steals some food, and then gains chase. She goes really fast. She just zooms through the streets, and then she runs into Harwin. Was such a cute meet cute. Just saying. He lets her go, seeing that Damon's with her, but he doesn't like it, and he's right to not like it because here's what happens next. Damon and Rhaenyra retreat to a brothel.
Ooh.
Yep. Where Damon and Rhaenyra make the irreversible step from uncle and niece to another relationship title. Yeah. So during their makeout session, Rhaenyra tries to take control, and Damon gets really upset. He gets upset eating spaghetti, and he leaves her stranded in a brothel alone.
Uncle
Anyways,
of the year.
yeah, world's best uncle.
That relatable moment when your uncle leaves you in the brothel.
That moment when
That moment when you just got done making out with your uncle and he leaves you.
and you're the heir to the Iron Throne, and he is like, "You'll find a way out. You're fine."
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're smart. You're smart. You'll get it. Anyway, so after the little during their rendezvous, Alyssa is shown doing her queenly duties and her wife duties. It's not fun. And it just really showcases Rhaenyra's remark earlier that marriage is a prison because Alicent is in a prison. She doesn't get to go out and have fun with her uncle. She has to stay and be a wife to her dad's coworker or her dad's boss. That's right. Yeah, she has to be a wife to her dad's boss. Anyways, excuse me. So Rhaenyra charges back into her room, which confuses Kristen Cole. It's like a really funny moment. I love that when she just like walks through and he's like, "How did you do that?" Magic. He
Ma'am?
is absolutely. He's just transfixed by what she can do. It was just so funny. Anyways, um, so now that she's all fired up and ready to go, Rhaenyra and Kristen have age appropriate and non-incestual relations, which is
Woohoo! Big one,
which
big
is
day for the
yeah, big day for Game of Thrones.
big day for the Game of Thrones.
Big day for them. And it's cute, and they're just two kiddos doing their best. And then to ruin everyone's fun, Otto hears about the events of everyone sneaking around for Damon's now ex-girlfriend. She she said thank you next and left. And then Otto literally cannot wait to tell Viserys. Like he literally cannot wait. He is jumping up and down with joy about this news.
Mhm.
And Viserys has a whole Ross moment when Ross sees Rachel and Joey making out. Remember, like when he opens up the apartment and he's just like, can't, they're like, Ross, are you okay? And he's just like staring and he's like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's what's happening with Viserys whenever Otto tells him that they were doing things in the brothel, and he was like, "What do you mean?" No, like, what were they doing? Like, what are they doing?
Like my baby Rhaenyra would never.
she would, she would never. Anyways,
Are you calling her a whore?
how
No.
dare you?
They
So,
were on a break.
they were on a break. Um, so Otto basically has to demonstrate with Barbie dolls what Rhaenyra and Damon did, and then Alicent overhears all of this. And then she basically texts Rhaenyra, "Meet me out back. Like we have to settle this now," and confronts her about Damon. And then Rhaenyra, of course, lies and is like, "I can't believe you would ever think of me like this. I would never with my uncle. What?"
On my dead mother's grave.
On my dead mother's memory, I would never. You crazy girl. So and Allison believes this, which is shocking. Damon is brought to the king under the worst hangover of his entire life, and he gives a very crafty proposal to Rhaenyra. Give my hand, give me Rhaenyra. You asked me when I relinquished my crown, I could have whatever I want. You know that whole thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Viserys takes this to mean that Damon wants the throne. So he's like, "You go back to the wife you actually married. You go to her now. Bye bye. Leave the premises." So Rhaenyra is brought to Viserys' chambers, and he shows her the inscription of Aegon's dream on the dagger that was shown in the first episode. They have a really good fight. Honestly, I love the fight between them in that scene. It's so interesting. And then they come to a conclusion they need to have a trade off. Rhaenyra is going to marry Leonor so that way they can fix the political divide that's happening there. And then Viserys is gonna fire Otto Hightower's ass. So,
Period.
period, period slay. This is when I start to really just like start loving Viserys. um, but Viserys hands Otto the pink slip, and then Instacarts some Plan B to Rhaenyra, and that's how the episode ends. There we
Beautiful,
go.
beautiful summary.
Thank you, thank you. I worked really hard on it. I would like pause every 15 minutes to be like, I need to write that down. Write that down. Write that down.
I do the same thing.
I'm glad I'm not alone in my madness, but let's hear your fire takes, girl.
So number one, Otto Hightower getting fired.
Glorious moment.
You know, there are a few moments where I win on this show, and I feel like in
It,
this episode I won.
we won, boys. We did it. We did
We did it, Joe.
it.
We did it, Joe. And I just Otto Hightower is just he's a snake. He's a snake. And just seeing him lose at some point brings me so much joy,
Oh
personally.
yeah.
And another one of my fires was that there was a lot of I believe like symbolism in in
Oh,
this one.
a butt ton of symbolism in this episode. Yes.
But one of my favorite ones is that when Alicent is in Viserys's bed and they're
Yep.
having their relations and she looks up and you can see on her nails she's picking her nails like she did when she had anxiety. And well, she still has it, but you know, not as much as
Wait.
she did before, but you can see her picking her nail because her hand is up on the bed
Well, I
and
never.
she looks up and she sees a rat crawl across like the bed frame or whatever, and that almost looks like the greens are rats in, infecting the Targaryen family almost to me.
Oh, okay. So I did myself a disservice because
Mhm.
when that scene came on, I looked away. I was like, I'm
Mhm.
uncomfy. I can't watch it, and it's just hard for me because I feel so much for Allison. I feel so much for her at this
That
point.
that happened to me the first time, but I figured I knew it was coming this time, so it
That's
wasn't
fair. That's fair. Yeah, I kind of
as big as a ooh.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that it was coming up, so I kind of looked away. But I kind of remember the first time I watched it. I think I watched the and I remember the rat. Um, but I never noticed her picking her nails. That is such a interesting detail.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's her coping mechanism. I mean, talk
And if
about
we
the
look
worst
back at
situation.
yeah, and if we look back at past episodes too, there has been at the dragon head, Viserys' old dragon, Aegon the First dragon, that the skeleton head is there. There
Mhm.
are rats crawling in that too. I
No,
think it's in like episode 2 or something where they
no
where
way.
yeah.
No way. That is so, oh my gosh, I have
So
got to pay attention to the rats now.
I've been paying attention to the rats, so I don't know if that's like symbolism for like the
That
greens
has got to be.
infecting up the Targaryen lineage,
Well, and the just that, especially with Otto, with how close he is with Viserys and everything, like
Mhm.
how that it's a infestation
Yeah,
within
that's the word I
his
was looking for.
within his court.
Because
Um
also even Viserys's like hand is rotting,
oh
and
god, yeah.
Otto is his hand of the king. So
Duh. Oh
that
my
was another
god.
thing to where I was like, oh my God.
That's so pointed. Like duh. How did I not? Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Okay, you yeah, thank you.
So
Yeah.
those were and also the hot boys. That's always like
The
Damon is
boys.
not on fire this week for reasons
Nope.
I can get into in later, but those are all my fires that I have. Oh,
Cute.
well,
Okay.
also the little makeup scene between Rhaenyra and Allison, I thought that was
I
cute.
know, I know, and I oh god, it's so heart wrenching because that's not gonna last long. Um, I was kind of trying to think um before this episode and before a lot of events were happening. I was like, what really happened between Rhaenyra and Allison that really caused such a heavy divide? Like I know the reason why, but I was
Hmm.
like, what's the emotion behind it really? And I forgot the things that she said to her and the argument that they had at the tree and everything. Like I didn't realize how much was put into it. Um well, yeah, of course, but, like, I just forgot, and I was like, "Yeah, that really made it so much worse to set up the relationship for complete failure." Um, anyways, but here are my fires. So we hate Otto Hightower, of course. I will say he had an iconic line in this episode, and he said, "During the hour of the owl," and I love that. I have got to say that from like more often. Like that's where I live. I have to. I have to say that from now on. He said that, and I was like that was Shakespeare. Thank you. I hate
Like,
you, but thank you for that nugget of wisdom. I
like when
appreciate it.
instead of saying you're depressed, I was in my darkest hour.
I was in the hour of the owl, and I was suffering, man. Um,
During my
but
darkest hour, I was in the hour of the owl.
I was in the hour of the owl. It really, yeah. Um,
Yeah, that kind of
so
goes hard.
it does go hard. I really liked it. My next was I love the Sarah City shouted at Rhaenyra, "You are my political headache." I busted out laughing. It's whenever she's when they have their argument after he confronts Damon
Hmm.
and has her come over to his chambers and they're having the argument and she was like, "Oh, you're just marrying me off to Laenor because that's a great way to get rid of your political headache." And he was like, "You are my political headache." It's such a like father daughter argument. It's so funny. And I the amount of character growth just within that argument is insane to me because both of them like give each other a reality check on everything and they like
Hmm.
are both receptive to it. And it's one of my favorite moments, I think, for Viserys and for Rhaenyra because he was like he's still even in under the circumstances of what just happened, her risking her virtue for whatever and nearly destroying her lineage or whatever to the Iron Throne. He was still like, I still choose you. You are still my number one girl. okay, I'm still gonna give you that succession, but um, you know, you're done. It's
Get
done.
your
I
act
I need
together.
I
Yeah.
I need this. I need this angsty teen, you know, I get it. We've all been kids once, but I need you to pull it together because the realm is super delicate right now. And I think she knows that now after seeing the play and realizing that people are not in her favor.
Mhm.
And so I really love that conversation. And then she counteract with, okay, if you really care about how delicate the realm is right now, you need to realize that you have a little old rat in your neck right next to you as your hand, and you need to get rid of Otto Hightower because he has never had your interest or the realm's interest at heart. It's always been his own. And so that goes into my next fire, which was Viserys getting fired, of course. Um,
Otto getting fired, not Viserys.
oh, LMAO. Sorry, Viserys firing Otto.
Sorry,
No, you're good. Thank
Viserys.
you. No, thank you for correcting me. That would have been a wildly different story. Anyways, I love how there was no going away party. He just cut right to the chase, and it was one of the prouder moments for Otto because or sorry, for Viserys. God, I did it again. Ah. Anyways, because Viserys put so much together, like he was like, I should have realized, only took you 5 days to betray the king that you originally had your your devotion to
Mm.
whenever he died. And then of course I see now that Alicent was a political move on your part, and you did that at my weakest hour, and how could you? I trusted you like a brother, and you only have your best interest at heart. And so I loved that list that he gave. It was such damning evidence that really just showed that Otto has never cared once about any other outcome other than what could benefit for him. So that was good. And then the Westeros birth control for Sarah's
Moon,
giving
Moon
Rhaenyra
tea.
Plan B, huh?
Moon tea.
Moon tea, yeah. Viserys giving Rhaenyra some Plan B. That was, I don't know. Has that been talked about in Game of Thrones before?
I can't remember right now.
Did
You know,
Danny ever take it or
I have to look it up. I can look it up on
okay.
the
I
internet.
just like I
I don't
can't like
I don't remember in the show.
I don't remember it in the show either, and that's why I remember when this episode aired for the first time and everyone was like, "Oh my god, Viserys is pro-choice, like slay." And I just remember it being a really big deal. And it now makes me think that it's because it was the first time we saw something like
Fire and Blood does not specifically mention that Rhaenyra Targaryen ever took moon tea or was presented with it. It was something that was invented in TV series due to the unreliable narrator in the textbook of Song and Ice and Fire.
that. Interesting. Okay, that's cool.
There
So
are
was
other it brought up other instances like in the books brought up, but I don't remember. It wasn't in a Song of Ice and Fire. It is in the Game of
okay,
Thrones like books.
okay. So they just pulled it from there. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just such a I thought that was a really excellent moment to end the episode on. Like I liked how they ended this episode with that moment of her, you know, looking at the moon tea. That was I thought that was a good way to end the episode. So much tension everywhere. Oh my gosh. And then my last fire, it's not I mean like I of course not the circumstances, but I did like how it was showing the polar opposites of what marriage means depending on who you are in Westeros because
Mhm.
Rhaenyra, like Allison says earlier, you have like hundreds of suitors you get to choose from. You get to have your lay of the land. You get to choose whatever you want, and you know, it's entirely your choice. And then on the opposite, Allison never got to choose her husband. She was forced into it. She had no choice in the matter. And that keeps cutting whenever she's having relations with Viserys, and then Rhaenyra is out in the brothel. It was cutting between those two moments while it did the voiceover of Damon talking about how marriage is just a political thing, and that you can have sex for pleasure And it's also showing how there's no pleasure in it for Allison. You know, this is like a waking nightmare for her.
Mhm.
Um, and it shows Rhaenyra, you know, she has the ability to go out and, you know, do this really reckless thing, and honestly ends up with having very little consequence of what happened. I mean, she kind of gets out a little scot free, um, despite her not being able to lie at all. Anyways, I'll get into that later. But yeah, I just thought that was a really great choice for. I don't know if the director did that or the writer did that, but I liked how they were showing the contrast between
Mhm.
what marriage means between those two characters. So those are my fires.
I'm gonna go into some icebreakers,
Icebreakers.
some ice
Some ice, yes.
that I think some Game of Thrones popular opinions might hate. Um,
Uh,
we're getting into that territory. I hate young Rhaenyra and Daemon together.
yeah.
It just like I'm not a big fan of them together in general, but I think these actors that I think later down the line, I think it's a little more okay with me because I think the actors have more chemistry
Mm-hmm.
than the ones here. Because to me, Matt and Emma are like the best choice for them in that era. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
And
Yes.
I love young Rhaenyra. I
Oh
think all the
yeah.
casting choices were great for the show. I just don't like them together now.
Yeah.
Um, and I know Daemon Targaryen is it's such like a big controversial issue with Daemon.
Mm-hmm.
But if this was in real life, I would be against everything
Right,
altogether
but
with
it's
incest
the
and you know,
age gap and all that good
yeah.
stuff.
I
But
just need to get all that out before that turns into something it shouldn't be.
right,
But
yes.
I don't like them together in this episode. It gives me an ick. It gives me
Yeah.
a get away from her, get a job.
Move out of your parents' basement, man. Come on.
Go back out to the seas, Damon. I don't know. And also Damon just wanting to get with Rhaenyra just because she's the heir to the Iron Throne. That's also like another ick, just because he
Well,
wants
like I'm trying
Rhaenyra.
to yeah, because is it that he wants the Iron Throne, or is it just that he wants Rhaenyra? Is it
I don't
because
I don't think he wants the Iron Throne. I think he just wants that like title of because Rhaenyra's the heir. He wants to be like somewhat close. You know what
right?
I'm saying? He wants to be that close to someone who's ruling. Now I think actually he loves Rhaenyra down the line. And
Yes,
he doesn't have that anymore, but now I think that's what he came back for intentionally.
that's where the initial intentions were. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense because he got a taste of it when he became king of the Narrow Sea. So,
Hmm.
but it makes sense. What else do you have for ice?
I also had everyone not having common sense.
Literally.
So, I mean, if Rhaenyra was gonna go out, if my uncle took off my hat and I was in a brothel and I was the heir to the Iron Throne, I'd put that hat right back on.
I put that hat right back on.
Right, nothing
Girl,
happened.
girl, go home.
Go home. As soon
Go
as my uncle brought me to a
home.
brothel, I would go home. And also, I think maybe this helped. I also think this experience helped Rhaenyra with understanding the common people don't like her.
Yes.
And I know she says the common people don't matter, but clearly in Game of Thrones it does, because we can see
It
this
very
later
much
down the
matters.
line with even just the Lannisters. And I just I don't know, I feel like that really helped her in some sense to like kind of go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, if I play my cards right, I can actually do this.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of like my ice with with all that. What about you?
My ices? Okay. Rhaenyra's inability to lie. When I was like, when Allison was like, "Did you sleep with your uncle?" and she was like, "No." it was painful to watch because it's not because the actress did a bad job acting, it's because Rhaenyra as a character is a bad liar. Good God. Like
Hmm.
it's so funny. Like and the fact that Allison believes her is so funny to me because I was like, oh my gosh, she's like Rhaenyra's almost like he it's I just like I could not if I were Allison, if I were Allison and Rhaenyra was doing if she said what she said and did what she did, I'd be like, girl, I can read right through you. Like, I see that. I see that. I thought it was so
I
funny. She
think
cannot
maybe
lie.
Allison wants to believe her
That's
in a
such a good point
sense,
too. Yeah,
even if she
that's a
doesn't,
good
I
point
think she
too.
might, because Rhaenyra hasn't done anything yet to like make her go against her. I feel like
Yeah.
she's holding on to that last, like, okay, maybe once my friend, like when you're mad at your friend, like, okay, maybe once they realize they need to get their crap together, like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? After you call them
Yes.
out on it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's a good point too. I just thought it was so funny. I was like, she cannot lie with all the gifts that she has. She is not gifted in the lying department.
No.
Um, So my next ice is Viserys taking too long to realize what Otto was saying. Like I get it, it's funny, but it's like, oh my god, how? What do you need me to like hand gesture show you? Like what's not clicking here, babes? What's not going on here? Like no one's home, head head empty, no thoughts, brain smooth, nothing's going on, no one's home. It's just such a painful moment. Like it's funny. It's funny. It's a funny moment. But like, dude, it's painful to watch. And then mine was my last ice was leaving your niece abandoned in a brothel.
Yeah.
It's just a
Daemon
little
Targaryen.
heir to the Iron Throne. I mean, he does not come off well in this episode at all. This is not his episode.
No.
No. This was not his episode. So those were my ices for this one.
Yeah, we were kind of on the same page with Daemon in this episode.
Yeah.
Just wah wah. Daemon
Wah
gets a
wah.
Daemon gets a 1.5 out of today for me. One.
You know the color changing sticks that they have in kindergarten where it's like you
Mm-hmm.
put your clothespin your name on a clothespin and then it has the stick and it's like green is for good behavior, yellow is for okay
Oh,
behavior.
Daemon's all the way at the bottom of red.
He's in blue. Well, there's blue. There's another level. There's
Oh,
a
I didn't
blue
know there was
level.
another level. My
Oh,
bad.
we had a blue level. So like it's not only like red like you are bad business. He's in blue. He's in the office. He's gone. He
Ooh,
out of here. He's gone.
Daemon, go
He's
home. Your wife is here to pick you up.
Damon Targaryen. Can you please come to the front desk? Um, yeah, not his best. So it's now consult the text time.
There's a
Consult the
lot. There's a
text.
lot going back to
There
the
is
text. I
a
think in
lot.
I think in this one. So I chose the stuff that like I recognized and saw. I didn't look
Okay.
anything up. If I needed to look anything up, it was to like remember a quote or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the first thing that I okay, back. So I only look anything up if I need help reminding me of like quotes or whatever. But Rhaenyra is in the beginning, she is with Rhaenys' uncle, because that's her mom's side of the family in the little family tree
Right.
at Storm's End.
Wow. Wait, hold on. Okay, wait, repeat that. I have to like family tree this for a second.
So Rhaenys' mom was a Baratheon,
Baratheon. Okay.
and dad. Well, one of her parents was a Baratheon. I can't remember which one it is right now. I don't know why. But
Okay.
because one of her parents was a Baratheon and the other one is a Targaryen,
Okay.
and they got married, and they
Okay.
had her. And the guy in the beginning with Rhaenyra is her uncle.
Is Rhaenyra's uncle.
Is no Rhaenys's.
Rhaenys' uncle. Okay, now I understand. Okay, okay, that makes
Because
sense.
he also came up to her in the first episode and said to the queen who never was. That was also that same actor.
That was him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would never have made that connection. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, that was I loved her comeback to him where she was like, "Is my was my great grandmother as beautiful as they say?" He was like, "Oh, that was centuries ago," and she was like, "You were there."
That was
Dinosaur.
he was the guy sitting next to her.
Oh, oh, wrong person. Okay, I was
Yeah,
thinking
no,
about the guy
Rhaenyra was
that.
at his like Rhaenyra was at his house and
Oh, okay. I
she was
thought
on
you
her
were
little
talking about the
victory
guy.
tour.
I thought you were talking about the first guy to propose to her in the episode.
No, 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 no.
I got
She's
confused.
technically with like family right there, so just
Got it. Okay, I
like a
understand now.
I'm not gonna do how Rhaenyra is related to him, but we get it. They're related somehow, some way.
They're connected. Their paths have crossed at one point. You got it. Okay.
Um, but speaking of that guy who we
Okay.
talked about, Rhaenyra's grandmother, Rhaenyra's grandma did come to visit him, and she was fascinated by one of the local lords who could play sad songs.
He was the only one that could play sad songs.
She was fascinated by the lord who played sad songs.
He's
There.
so free, say for the teardrops on my guitar.
Period. Maybe Taylor Swift was there. And then when they talk about Blackhaven, that is where Sir Christian Cole is from. His dad had a job there and he kind of grew up there.
But he's Dornish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And then when we get to that scene where the little boy is talking to Rhaenyra and we have that guy that looks like a jock is like making fun of him. They're actually the little boy is from a family called Blackwood,
Hmm.
and the big Brock jock looking guy is
We'll
from
call Brock.
Breakin. Is from
Brock
Breakin.
Brickin. Brock Brickin.
Yeah, that's what families they're from. So we have little boy and Brock, and they believe in the old gods, not in the new religion that we have going on now that Allison heavily believes in, the faith of the seven.
Okay.
And their beef with each other, Rhaenyra's grandfather, Jaehaerys, tried to handle, but ended up never getting, like, there was peace for maybe like a month, and then they said, fuck you, and then we're gonna fight each other
Oh,
again.
nice.
Yeah, I love that. But they fight over a mountain that looks like a pair of boobs, and those families fight over whose boobs it is. So
Who owns these?
it's either Barbara's teats or Missy's teats. Little fun fact.
Oh my god.
So that's what their beef is, if anyone was curious.
Their beef is over boobs. Oh my god. Yeah, that puts everything into perspective.
Uh-huh. And also that scene also made me think of in the first episode, Rhaenys is they're at the termina and Rhaenys is talking to her husband, they're gossiping. And
Gossip girl.
it's when she says it's when the knight gets stabbed is what made me think of it. When the little boy kills Brock, basically. Rhaenys says this quote, "Knights are as green as fists are full of steel and balls full of seed," which basically means men are fucking dumb and will just fight each other.
Yep. They just fight each other and they just want to repopulate. That's all.
And Rhaenys is she was right about that.
She's real. It was a real quote. Yeah. She, as always, is correct.
The queen who never was should have been queen.
Should be queen, period.
And one thing that is different though is Damon's dramatic entrance
Oh, really?
in
It's
this
not
show.
dramatic?
It's more dramatic in the
Oh,
books.
oh.
I think they really missed the opportunity. It's
What
dramatic, but
was.
so in the books there's like a fighting tournament going on, and Viserys is like looking out over people, and Daemon comes down on his dragon
Oh my god.
and gives the crown to Viserys,
Oh
and
my
still
god.
makes the little speech that he had, but instead of that, he does that.
Oh my
And I
god.
felt like that should have been used.
I feel like that's a good opportunity. I did like how everyone in court was there to witness it and they were just like gasping and everything the entire time.
Everyone in court still could have been there at the tournament.
Someone just set off a firework like right outside my house. That was weird. Okay,
You're
anyways,
welcome.
sorry. Um but I that's true. They would have been there anyways, but I just thought it was so funny. Like the way that they made a path for him and everything. I was like, what the? They were like, we want to see this go down. So pop a popcorn. I'm so ready. But yeah, him riding in on his dragon would have been really cool. And they kind of did that whenever Rhaenyra is on the boat, about to
Mm.
enter King's Landing, and Daemon's dragon jump scares them. But
Yeah, I could see it compared to that.
yeah, but I think it would have been cooler if the dragon just like dropped in and was like, "Here you go." Dropped in kind of like Dragon does in Shrek in the first movie when she like crashes through the stained glass.
And donkey, and he comes through.
Donkey,
I'm a donkey on edge, and
I'm
it's
a
this is
donkey on edge.
Daemon Targaryen.
In the morning, I'm making waffles.
Yep. And then another thing I noticed is that when Daemon and Viserys were talking about their mother, I feel like their mother hasn't really been spoken about because she's kind of like
Mm-mm.
a, I don't know, she's like a really cool Targaryen, and
Oh,
their mother was a tomboy, and her name was Alicia, or it's either Alicia or Alessia, depending on who
one of those.
pronounces it. One of
Yeah.
those, you know. But it's Alyssa, depending on
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh,
depending on what you want.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but their mom had two different colored eyes. She had a green one and a purple one, and
That is so cool.
mm-hmm, and she was kind of a tomboy. She always had like a broken nose.
Nice.
And there's a quote that says she did not act like a girl. She preferred dragon riding, climbing, and devouring broken. What does it say?
Men.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna redo that. So there's a quote that says, she did not fight like a girl. She preferred riding and dragon climbing and had a broken nose. And I don't know. I really think they missed an opportunity. I would love a flashback if they
That
could
would
do
be
or something.
cool.
I think they missed an opportunity to give us a little bit of something with that. Maybe if Viserys was dreaming about his mother, because their mom would take them on Dragonback as babies.
Well, and that would be a cool you know, homage to also the whole Targaryen dreaming thing. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a part well, we have the dragon dreamer, what's her name? The descendant of Alicent, and that can
Helena?
has is it Elena?
Helena?
Helena? Yeah, Helena.
Mm-hmm.
They could do that with her. Like if she could be like talking all nonsense that points to her great grandmother, great grandmother,
Great
somehow
grandmother.
great grandmother, and do a flashback. We should do that.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anyone's from HBO is listening, please give us flashbacks.
You don't have to pay me. Just give me
Um,
credit.
I'll take a the payment. Don't worry, guys.
Actually,
Um,
cut that out. Cut that out. That doesn't go well with the strikes. Oh my
cut
gosh.
this out in post, Sarah.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
Okay, and then another thing I noticed is what? Okay, what did I write? Okay, so another thing I noticed is that this is a theory that I've seen online a few times, to where like, how did Otto learn that he plans to marry his daughter off? And he heard from the Cynodel, and the Citadel is the place where like all like the letters like go through and everything. So people think
Oh,
Otto has people at the Citadel reading
that
letters
would
and
make
giving him
sense.
information.
So
That's
he
a
has people,
theory.
he's got people in the post office working for him. That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay, got it,
Yep.
got it, got it. Boom.
So that's also a theory, and I do believe that.
That would make
Um,
sense.
and then
Wouldn't
there's
put it past
also
him.
no. And then so we're gonna get into a little bit of lore about the passageways in
Ooh,
the castle. So the Red Keep passageways were made by Maelgar the Cruel,
okay,
and he is the son of um Aegon's sister wife Visenya and Aegon,
okay.
and he basically ruled he killed a lot of people basically, but
He was
he
on the Iron
made
Throne?
mhm, he was on the
Okay.
Iron Throne. His first brother died and then he got put on the Iron Throne.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So he ended up um making these passageways so that kid spies could go through and spy for him.
That's why.
But he
Why?
made these
Security system.
passageways. Basically, he made all these passageways and then he killed all of the workers.
Oh
So
my
no one
God.
could know where they are, what they're doing, and blah 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 blah. So that's why these passageways are like on like the low low, because no one is really supposed to know about them.
Holy crap. Okay. That's
So
dark.
yeah, that's why those like passageways are there.
Got it. That's really that I was kind of wondering. I mean, of course, castles have passageways. That's castle one on one.
Mhm.
Um, but that is a very interesting backstory to it and very dark. I would be very scared of the ghost workers haunting me. You know what I mean?
I would be more scared of bigger problems in Westeros, I
Oh, I
think.
mean, like people breaking in for sure. I mean, spying on me in my bedroom that I've lived in my entire life. Not at all
Yeah,
creepy.
I fear I would be moving to Dragonstone real quick.
ASAP. And also looking at the
Um,
blueprints to see if they had any passageways there. Because
I don't know about that one, girly pop. Um,
what?
there there is also another theory that in the beginning when Rhaenyra is coming out and to the city and you see that guy blowing fire.
Yes.
So a bunch of the fireworkers, some people think that it's fire magic, or some people, there's also some characters in the books who use I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a fire like
Magician.
dust. Like you
Oh,
blow it
oh,
and like fire comes out.
oh. Like
Like it's not
okay.
actual magic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so the Daenerys in the books, she meets a fire magic guy and he basically tells her because she brought dragons back that the
Hmm.
magic people who use magic, it's more powerful. And this is a very powerful time in Westeros because there's so many dragons.
That makes sense.
So what gets me is that do you think because dragons and magic is so powerful, do you think that's why people are having more dragon dreams? Because Daenerys is also a dragon dreamer. We did see this in Game of Thrones.
That's true. But no one else was up until she got the dragons back.
Hmm.
Like, I think it's 100% linked. I think there have been some stories before in where a dragon is like the host of all magic. And if a dragon dies, all the magic dies with it.
Hmm.
And I wonder if that's, I mean, that would make sense if that was kind of linked here, in that the more dragons there are, the more magic there is, the more palpable everything is. Like, you know, like having dreams, having vivid dreams, having experiences that are otherworldly that they don't really understand. I do think that that comes from the dragons, especially since I mean, how many are there at this point? Um, Like,
Rhaenyra has one. Daemon, Vhagar is out there somewhere. And then we
yep,
have um
name drop this episode. I was like, oh my god,
and
I know her.
I know
I
her.
know her. Me, Ma, Vega.
Mima Vhagar. And then we have Sea Smoke.
Hmm.
And I don't know why I can't remember this dragon's name. Rhaenys' dragon.
Yes.
I can't remember her dragon's
I can't
name.
remember her name either.
I will in a few episodes. Those
But
are all the
there,
ones I can think of right now, but there are
but there's
also.
so many dragons. Like, it makes sense that there's a lot happening and a lot experiencing in the moment
Mhm.
that's going on. I think that that's very. I think you absolutely got it in that magic and dragons are besties. One and one on one, one on one, one and one. Yes.
And then so now we're gonna get into some of like book stuff a little bit.
Can I actually ask? I had two questions
Of course.
before we get into the segment because I wasn't quite sure. And this actually kind of pulls into what we were just talking about with the magic.
Mhm.
So when David and Rhaenyra, when they're walking through the streets, and it's after that guy does the magic with his hands, a woman like approaches her and asks Rhaenyra, like, "Would you like to see your death?" And then the camera instantly cuts to a dragon fire cannon breathing fire.
I never noticed that.
And I was like, was that
That's some
has to be a
foreshadowing.
that has to be a nudge, right? Like that has to be a wink wink nudge nudge, right?
Yeah.
Because I just because I was watching the episode and she the way that the old woman like approaches the camera is really weird and she's like really loud when she says that and I was like that was really weird and direct and loud. And then I noticed the scene directly afterwards and I was like, wait a damn minute, hold on.
Do you know how she dies?
I know that she dies on her dragon, right? No.
Sure.
Okay. Sad. How did
Do you
she
want
die?
do you want me to tell you? So okay. Spoilers for everyone seeing this. Um
See.
even though the book's been out for years.
Yeah.
Um so Aegon has a battle with later Damon and Lydia's daughter. I can't
Okay.
remember her name. She's one of the twins.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't remember her name. I just saw her name. Anyway, it's one of the twins, and she is on her dragon, and she fucks up Aegon and his dragon. Like Aegon gets half burned. He falls
Nice.
off his dragon. Like he is
Noise.
like messed up, and his dragon is like almost dead,
Damn.
basically. And her dragon dies, but she lives.
Okay.
And she tried to escape because Rhaenyra and her and some people are being held hostage in King's Landing. And then
Okay.
so Rhaenyra is sent out. So Aegon's back because they're like,
Okay.
oh, Aegon didn't die. And so Aegon comes back and he's kind of like mad,
Uh, uh,
crazy mad,
Probably. Yeah, I would
and
think
he's
so.
and he's half burned and he's just like all messed up and all that. And so Rhaenyra is with her son Aegon the Third, and they are in the Iron Throne room, and her brother, has his dragon next to him by the throne, and Rhaenyra's chest on her breast is cut open.
Ugh. Why?
I don't know if this will be shown in the show or not. I don't know, but it's in the book, and
Why
it's
is that?
cut out
Why?
on her breast. So Aegon's dragon can smell the blood, and Aegon goes
Oh.
Jakara's, and Rhaenyra
Oh.
basically gets
Burned
she does
alive.
it not only burned, eaten by a dragon.
What the fuck? Wait, so why was her breast cut open?
So they could smell the blood.
Oh, so he purposefully cuts it.
Yeah. It's very misogynistic if you ask me.
Yeah, very direct. Yes.
And also Rhaenyra's son watched his mom die like that.
Does
So
he get
that's why.
revenge?
Aegon, kind of. Aegon, her brother is poisoned by his own men and dies. And
LMAO.
Rhaenyra's son is the only person who is like alive to take the Iron Throne, and he does.
Okay, okay. Damn, this sucks. Anyways, okay. So, anyways, that was something that I noticed when they were walking through the streets,
So
and I
yeah,
was
you
like,
were right.
I was right. I was right. I knew she got. I knew dragon was cause of death, but I didn't know exactly how. But that makes sense.
He
Anyways,
technically gives a dragon rider's death. So
technically, technically. And then my next question, because this was a big deal. Kristen Cole relinquishes his white cloak, soils
mhm.
it, soiled it, um,
Soiled.
soiled it. And so my question, I mean, I know that virtue and knighthood, I think, is a very common thing in fantasy books. But is there anything from the books about them being white cloaks and having to stay virtuous?
Yeah, that also is a thing in the books.
Like, is there
I don't
like
know.
a story behind that, or is that just like how it is?
That's just like how it is.
Okay, I didn't know if like there was like a cause or
There are
something.
another stories of knights falling in love with people and having like in quotations bastards. There's a lot of like those forbidden love stories with that. There was one where Jaehaerys and um one of the members in the Strong family,
Hmm.
he was a knight and he ended up having three wives and 16 children.
Holy
And
crap!
Jaehaerys cut off his dick. He let him live, but he cut off his dick.
Oh my god! You're done. You're done.
He said, "You're done."
You're cut off.
Because even with like Jon, I can't remember what's Jon Snow's first girlfriend's name. It starts with a Y.
Yvette.
Yvette. Yeah. So even Jon Snow and Yvette is like a forbidden romance
No, I knew
too.
that was a forbidden romance because they take an oath whenever they join the wall. But
Mhm.
I didn't know if it was like if there was like some sort of like fantasy story associated that was specific to Game of Thrones.
If there is,
Um,
I can't remember right now.
that's totally fair. It's kind of just a common trope that
Mhm.
happens anyways. But I just it was such a poignant moment when Kristen Cole sets down his white cloak when they're undressing together. Like he there's a moment like he takes a pause whenever he's holding it, like before he sets it down. Like it's a big moment for him. Like he's giving up so much. And so I was like, is there like history behind that? But it's just, he took an oath to not have sex and he was like, this chick over here though, I
That's
will risk it for
tough.
the biscuit. So
Couldn't be me.
couldn't be me. Anyways, yeah. So those were the two things I noticed. But now we can go into the book stuff.
Slay. So to get even more into like book stuff, there in the book, Allison is older than Rhaenyra, and she's like in her 20s when she marries Viserys, and
Mm-hmm.
Rhaenyra's like 5. And there is a thing where it says that she used to take care of Viserys, the old king, like how she was bathing. Uh, there was a thing where it said that she used to take care of Jaehaerys, the old king, and bathe him like she's doing in this episode with Viserys.
Oh, and so that's how she knows how to have a gentle touch because she's been taking care.
Maybe, maybe if
Okay.
she was doing it as a child, but I don't think she would have in the show.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah,
So I
that
don't
is an
know.
interesting that well, that's an interesting tie-in for sure.
And then there are rumors in the book that Allison was having sex with the old king.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. And that Damon took her V card.
shut up. Shut up. Oh my God. The drama. The drama. Okay. Wow, Damon. Damn. I can That would be crazy.
We
I mean, could you imagine
we
that was
don't we don't know if it's true or not. I'm just saying.
but rumors have circulated that they were roommates.
Mhm.
And could you imagine if that happened in the show too? I mean,
I mean, drama.
yeah, anyways.
And then in the book, it explains the night that Rhaenyra had with Sir Criston Cole and Daemon, and then what it relates to it, because no one knows what happens behind closed doors.
Mhm.
But the book says that Rhaenyra got sex lessons from Daemon because she fancied Criston Cole, and that Criston Cole turned her
Oh.
down, and he said no.
Oh.
So that's
Uh-oh.
what's written in the textbook.
So
They lied.
so her having sex with Kristen Cole is not what happened in the book.
Supposedly. This is
Okay.
like a quotations. Like this is like the
Okay.
rumors.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you take Fire and Blood, like we know what happened here, but some of the stuff with like we don't know what happens behind closed doors, essentially.
That
You
makes
know.
sense. I mean, he denied. I mean, I'm sure he would deny it. Other than to Allison, but that's next week's episode. um, but okay, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, Sex lessons from your uncle. Nice, lovely.
That just made like the lips of my pussy form into an X.
No, done.
It's like on Family Feud.
Steve Harvey, say something.
Steve Harvey. Steve we're sitting we're sitting in a brothel as Steve Harvey comes out. Who do you want to help you with your sex lessons? And then Rhaenyra, bing bing bing, uncle.
Uncle, let's see,
And Steve Harvey
Uncle.
and then Steve Harvey looks at the camera like that face he makes like okay, and then he goes, "Oh, uncle." And then it's the number one answer in Westeros.
And there's cheering and applause. Yay,
Yeah.
incest. Yay.
And then Steve Harvey wants to go home.
He's like, I can't put up with these people anymore.
No, Steve Harvey would hate Westeros.
I mean,
Um,
it's like that audio where it's like, what's the one where it's like, I don't know what it is, but whenever they turn the result and it does the ding sound, and
yeah.
when people like drop it low, it's the ding sound. Let's see, Uncle. Ding.
Oh.
Too
And
funny.
then there was another thing that I noticed that
Okay.
in the tree that they sit in front of, it's they don't nobody believes in the old gods that much anymore in Westeros.
Hmm.
But that tree is a religious tree and it has a face carved onto it and it basically
Yeah.
means the gods see everything.
Okay.
And a lot of things happened in front of that tree with Rhaenyra and Alicent, and
That's
the
true.
tree sees Rhaenyra lie.
Hmm.
And I don't know
I saw
if
Rhaenyra Lion.
yeah, everybody saw Rhaenyra lying, but I don't know if that was like a little thing of everybody sees everything, or people lies come out or something like that. So I don't know if that was like a little hint to something.
That's yeah, no, that definitely is. I mean, that's kind of like in The Great Gatsby when it's like the eyes of God are always watching with the
Mm.
TJ Eckelberg, I think is his name, glasses that oversee the Wilson's gas station. But that's kind of the same thing. The God's eyes are always watching.
Hmm.
I see the mischief. I see the truth. It will be noted and it will be in your file. They keep record.
Oh well, Rhaenyra's definitely not going to heaven.
she's
Um,
got she's got a file this big.
I don't think any Targaryens are in heaven. Sorry to make maybe Daenerys, but sorry
You
to
never did anything wrong.
make everyone sad for a moment. Um,
Well, is that? I don't know what the religious belief is in Westeros, but where do they think people go when they die?
oh, it's like a whole thing. I'd have to. There's like the old gods in the faith of the seven. There's like seven gods in the faith of the seven, and each one does a different thing. I have to like look it up. I can get it back to you next episode.
But no, you're fine. But like, do they have life after death beliefs?
Yeah,
Okay. So then, yeah. So then they don't. Whatever the life after death thing is,
but
they just
Targaryens don't care though.
it's like the good place and the bad place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the last things I wanted to talk about is, of course, Aegon's dream.
Yep. The classic.
From my blood will come the prince who was promised, and his will be a song of ice and fire.
Yep. Excellent rendition. Great
Thank
British
you.
accent.
Thank you.
I totally bought it.
So, this isn't finished in the book yet, but there is a thing that says a hero, because they did it differently in the show. I think they did it poorly in the show, personally.
This moment
Um,
or what
the
happens with?
prophecy,
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
says the person who was promised is supposed to kill the Night King, and Arya kills the Night King.
And it's supposed to be a prince, and
Yeah,
it's yeah.
or someone of royalty descent, I think, personally. Um, but there is part of the prophecy called a hero will use a burning sword called Lightbringer, and there's another one that says that, like, there will be sacrifice involved of
Okay,
a loved one. And
okay,
so we haven't seen Lightbringer yet in any type. We can't talk about anything of what's going on in the book,
okay.
but I don't know if that will involve Daenerys possibly dying in the book. If they recreate what they did in the show, having Daenerys die and having Jon be the one, because if they fall in love and he
Mhm.
kills her, and then Jon is the prince who was promised and he kills the Night King, do you think that could be a possibility? Because Daenerys still has three dragons in the books, and she is still,
God,
everyone on
I
her team is
just
alive still.
every time every what? Okay, every single time you tell me about what's actually happening in the books versus what
Mm-hmm.
happened in the show, it's so different. It's so
Yeah.
different. I I've got to read them. Come on, girl, get together. Um, but
So do you think it could possibly, do you believe Daenerys is the prince who was promised out of all the things
yes,
she's done?
yes.
Okay,
Don't
good.
you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean like dirt, but I mean the whole stuff with John is yeah, no, it's Danny. I see you, Danny.
Period.
Period. What are you doing?
So those are all the things I had from the books or any type of reference
I like it.
to any well, it's within the show if we want to compare it to anything like the tunnels Tywin used to escape King's Landing,
Yeah.
the same tunnels Rhaenyra went down. That's
Oh, there
another
was
thing.
something. Oh, the play reminded me of when Arya takes refuge in the in that actress's like
Oh yeah.
little. Do you remember that episode? I think it only happened for like an episode. It might have been a 2 episode arc thing whenever she was involved with the cast of actors and actresses. That's what that reminded me of. Because they're like all trying to do the accurate dress, even like
Mm-hmm.
the actors are all dressed in similar clothing to what they actually wore. Amazing attention to detail, and the comedicness behind all of it. Trying to make it
Mm-hmm.
a um, funny play. That's what that reminded me of. But I can't think of anything else that I was like, oh, that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week for
Yeah,
another realist episode of the Realist podcast of the Realist
of
show.
course. Thank you always for joining us, and don't forget to rate us 5 stars. are
Mm-hmm.
always welcome, or send 5 ravens, whichever. And don't forget to check out our social platforms on TikTok and Instagram.
And the storm broke.
The dragons danced.
And
And
we
we
watched!
watched.